Hey everybody, welcome back to Disney Sorcerer's Arena. So, look who's back. The person that I used to lovingly refer to as Hercules, because he was. When Hercules first came out, everybody was like losing their mind about it. And because when Herc first came out, he was the original I just go where I want to type tune. He was the one that everybody wanted. He was the character that, after they put Elsa in the game, they were like, "Oh, now we want Hercules," because and I want somebody to explain this to me in the comments. I really want to know. Why Ursula and why Hades? I mean, what? Not Ursula, but Elsa and Hades. I don't get it. I mean, I get that Frozen was a thing, and I've heard that it's like girls Star Wars, but I don't understand. And for Hercules, I remember coming up. I remember seeing that movie when I was young, but I was like, okay, this is okay. And I was to be perfectly honest, I was really always very good in school into Greek mythology, but Greek mythology is different from Hercules, because we've got there's this whole thing with the Hydra and the Cerberus, I believe that's what it was called, the three-headed dog thing. And of course the Titans, which we already know about, and we all know about Zeus. And you got, Hercules, voiced by Tate Donovan, and Phil over here, voiced by Danny DeVito, I believe. And then you got Pegasus and Meg and Pain and Panic. And then the other corner piece was of course Hades. Which, I mean, Hades, come on. But at least he's, he was voiced by somebody memorable, that being the now canceled James Woods. But now that we're and so I got the hype over Hercules when he first came out, because he was good, but he sort of suffers from what a lot of other teams suffer with. Now I'm not gonna tell you that he suffers from the Seven Dwarfs syndrome, because that team is like, why would you want? I mean, just leveling that team, having to invest as much time and energy into getting them for Snow White, it's like claw my eyes out. But for me, when I went over to this team on my buy to play account, now I only have him on my buy to play account. I will probably never ever have him on any of these free to play accounts. Why? Because I've never liked Hercules. Just being perfectly honest. And when you look at the team, if we go in and we look at the team separately, I know that it's Cozy and some of these people did breaks down when the first team came out, but maybe you're looking at it and you're like, hey, Hercules is out. Maybe you've just started. Maybe you're a couple months in and you're like, hey, I really want Hercules because he's a thing. No, I'm going to explain to you. You probably still need to go back and watch those guys' videos from when the team first came out, because they're still very viable. But since power creep is in the game, and since the team was introduced, Hercules is still Hercules, because his kit was built to be overpowered, and quite frankly, it still is. But as Hercules has maintained his place, the other toons I really don't think have. Now, as far as I can remember, Hades has been on the bottom tier of characters in this game since he was introduced. Because aside from being fast, he's pretty much just hot garbage. Let me explain. You can disagree with this as much as you want, but I just want you to look at the kit. I want you. Obviously, I've invested a little bit into him on this account. He says he deals damage 3 times. He gains haste, yada yada yada. But that's not it. And then this one grants haste to this character. And then if this character already has haste, then this character and the adjacent character gain offense up, crit power up, tactics, and unstoppable but only for 1 turn. So yeah, and then there's this which does damage and it's great, and there's nothing to this kit, guys. And so Hermes is really only usable in this event. That's it. You're never going to use Hermes anywhere else. Other than you might use him on a team in Sorcerer Showdown if you're crazy. Pain and Panic, on the other hand, if you're running a villain team in PvP or Raid, if you're running Machine Gun Hades in the Siege on Olympus, then you want Pain and Panic. Pain and Panic, I'm going to say, are still the only member of this team, and the team being Hermes, Pain and Panic, Phil, Meg, and Peg, that has any use to them. Why? Because use this, and when you do, Hades assists if he's a teammate. Which, why you would run Pain and Panic without Hades, I don't know. And then they got this purge taunt at place the person in stasis, sealing their turn meter. That's good. Then there's this thing where they become the enemy, they become the imposter, and they can use their basic. I mean, that can be good if you're copying a person and then there's this which does its thing. But I mean, outside, unless you're using them with Hades, which that's the only time you would ever use them, is on a villain PvP team with Hades, or in a raid team where you're running Machine Gun Hades. They go together. This is how they work. Meg at least has a taunt. She at least has a protect. She's only good for if you get this upgrade, you do the basic, then she turns into basically like Pain and Panic. Only I don't think she's as good. I don't think she's as fast. She doesn't have the stasis like Pain and Panic does. She doesn't have the imposter like Pain and Panic does. Now you look at this, and you say, well, if you use this ability, then she gains offense. She inflicts offense down for 2 turns, and she also purges hopeful effects, which I get. And then also, if Hades is on your team, then he's going to gain increased speed from this ability. Alright, sorry about that. I had to stop the video because my daughter was getting loud. That wasn't too much of a distraction. So now we're back after our end pause. Yeah, but all she does is she just doesn't do a whole lot. She grants turn meter, but so she's very good if you have Hades. And this again assists like Hades. Like, she really enables Hades, as you can see. The problem is, if you're running a PvP team with Herc, are you gonna take Meg with you? If you're running a raid, are you gonna take Meg in with you? And now, I get it. If you're one of the people that has all the time in the world, and you're really in love with Hercules, I get it. Hercules is so good. I'm willing to put in the time with Meg and Phil and Pegasus and all these guys, just so I can have Herc. I have a question. Are you wanting to do the same thing with the dwarves? Because I did it on my pay to play account. I'm not gonna do it again anytime soon. Because those dwarves, unless they get a refresh, are absolute trash. Absolute trash. I don't even care that Doc is a summoner's chosen. Literally, all he's there to do is to be a summoner's chosen. He adds nothing to the group. And that's out of a group that includes Mike, Olaf, the Horn King, Frozone, the Queen of Hearts, Jack, Sally. You know the names. And then to add Doc in, who is easily the worst of the group. That's just, it's rough. And you look, and so here we are in Phil. Deals damage, 50% chance to green crit up for one turn at the start of the turn. Okay, he doesn't do enough damage for that to matter. Deals extra damage, guaranteed crit up at tier 4. So you go from a 50% to a guarantee, but you have to do this investment. And then he's still not going to do very much damage. And then there's this ability, 3-turn cooldown, gains haste for 1 turn. He gains haste. That's amazing. It's a 3-turn cooldown. He's going to gain haste, and then he's going to grant a copy of a helpful effect. One helpful effect to this from this character. So if he has haste, he's going to copy it onto another character, and it's going to have 4-turn cooldown, y'all. And then you look down here, he gets Speed Reader. There's another effect. Unless you put another effect on here, what other effect is going to be copied? And then down here, it's extending the haste to 2 turns. And it's still a 4-turn cooldown ability. Grant magic. For 1 random ability to target teammate. So you put that on Herc. Okay. Maybe. If target teammate can be afflicted by crit up, remove it. And replace it with a guaranteed crit. You see what I'm saying here, guys? There's not a whole lot to these people's kits. Now you can look at them and you can be like, you know what, Benaya, you're kind of crazy. You're crazy because Herc is so worth it. Maybe he is. This guy, on the other hand, you put a speed slot on him, he's gonna be decent in Summoner Showdown. Obviously, it's gonna be better if you have mythicals with him. Deals damage to a target opponent for 4 times, and you get down here and it does more, but it still doesn't do a whole lot. Each hit has a 20% chance to inflict crit down. I have not seen that too many times. Just saying. Then there's this. This is the one you're gonna open any battle with. Just grants blind and does damage. That's all it does. And it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. And then this is the passive that once it goes off, you're going to get some leverage, because this is where he becomes at least a little helpful in the Summoner Showdown. But that's really it. You're not going to get a whole lot, and there's not a whole lot to him. And that's the kit. That's the team. Now, we'll tell you that given the choice between the dwarves and the Hercules team, I'd probably go Hercules team, but only marginally. Only only by a very slim margin. And probably what puts it over the top is just the fact that Pain and Panic are more useful than any of the dwarves. And you can get some actual mileage out of Hades. That said, I have not playtested it, but I've heard that once you have Zeus, that if you put Zeus with Hercules, he becomes a crazy person. Which, are we really surprised that that's the case? Are we really surprised that that's the case? That you put Zeus with Hercules? And so, what I'm saying is, out of this whole Hercules fact team, which you can see all 7 members of, or 8 members of right here on the screen, there are only 4 that are even worth anything. And the bad thing is that this guy is free. This guy you can get for free. This guy you can farm. You can get just from farming. But then you need all the rest of these guys to get to this guy. And then you probably need this guy to get to this guy. And so it's a lot of legwork. Plus, you're not going to get any mileage out of Hades. Out of Hermes. You're not going to get any mileage out of Megara. You're not going to get any mileage out of Phil. You're not going to get any mileage out of Pegasus. Like, ever. Literally. The only 4 members that you're ever going to use. And keep in mind, if you're using Hades, you're automatically going to put Pain and Panic on wherever you're using Hades. So that means you've already taken up 2 slots. That means you want to get 3 more. And then obviously, you have to farm these guys to get to him. If you get to him, okay. He's pretty good. He's okay. He's S tier, but he's not. But right now in the game, I don't think that he's worth investing in. If you're considering him for your first legendary, your second legendary, your third legendary, your fourth legendary, he might be. If we take a look at the legendaries, is he above Frozen? No, he's not above Frozen. There's no way. I would take this team 1,000,000 times. Why? Because they're much more useful than the Hercules team. Who else? Who else do we want to talk about? Who else is the legendary that we can talk about? Gotta think. Snow White, we said the 7 dwarves. If I had my choice, I would go after Hercules first, before Snow White. Especially if you're not into princesses. If you're into princesses, then I get it. But these dwarves, they're just absolute hot garbage. The 7 of them, and you need all 7 to get to Snow White. They are far less useful than Hercules. The Incredibles. Edna. I don't know enough about Edna yet. I'm just saying. But from what I've seen, I will take these 7 members of the Incredibles, plus the other 4 that you have to use. Mother Gothel and Bo Peep and all of them. I would much rather do that because the Incredibles are more useful than the Hercules team. So bear that in mind. Keep going. Keep going. I don't want to make sure. I'm probably going to Wreck-It Ralph. Okay, Calhoun. Calhoun is legit better than any member. She's better than any dwarf. She's a better standalone character than Pain and Panic. She's probably worse as a standalone character than Hades, but she's great. King Candy is probably the worst member of this team. Now, he's a downtown villain. But until you'll be able to use him some other places, but he's probably the worst. Ralph is complicated. Ralph and Vanellope, great combo. You get some good combos here. Don't necessarily know if they're better than the Hades and Pain and Panic combo. But you have two combos. Shank used to be hot garbage. Shank used to be the worst member of this team. Now, I'll tell you, if you put her on a raid team like I have her, with Ian, Sally, Chunk, and Wendy, and you're going up against Lava Titan, she can really help you out. And so for that reason alone, she's better than any dwarf, any other member of the Hades group. And so if I'm ranking my thing, Snow White is obviously bottom of the list. Hercules is barely above, and then Wreck-It Ralph. This Wreck-It Ralph team is even above the Hercules team. And then obviously Frozen is above both of them, going back up, and then the Incredibles. The Incredibles, I think that I would do Frozen before I would do the Incredibles, just because there's 10 or 11 characters you need for the Incredibles, whereas you only need 4 to get you to Elsa, but you need 11 to get you to Edna. So, from that perspective, that's what I'm saying. And so I'll put these things in, of my opinion of who you should go after in what order. Big Hero 6, love Big Hero 6. And the great thing about Big Hero 6 is you don't need yokai to get Baymax. All you need to get Big Hero 6 is Hero, who was still one of the best supports in the game. Fred, right? Yeah, Fred, Go-Go, Honey Lemon, and Wasabi. That's all you need to do. And you don't have to get them to 8. You don't have to get them to Gear 8. It's just Gear 7. Just like and they're much more useful than the Hercules team. So once again, I'm going to put this ranking. Now there's this team. Okay. Maurice. Okay, so Maurice is a member of a raid team. So that's good for him. You can use him independent. He doesn't need any help. Mrs. Potts, you need for Beauty and the Beast, and you need her for Maleficent. That bodes well for her. Cogsworth, garbage. Belle and Beast, just like we talked about, are a combo, but they're legendary combo. Okay, so you got your legendary, and you got Belle to go with him. Additionally, Belle is a princess. So really, your weak links on this team, you're not going to get any use out of Lumiere outside of this event. You're not going to get any use out of Cogsworth outside of this event. Outside of this event and the Maleficent event, you're not going to get any run out of Mrs. Potts. But here's the thing. If you do Maurice, Mrs. Potts, Cogsworth, Belle, and Lumiere, you're going to get Beast. In addition, you're going to have 1/10 of the Maleficent team done. And then if you go ahead and do Gestant, you will have 2/10 or 1/5 of the Maleficent of the toons you need for Maleficent done. So keep that in mind. So I'm still going to put these guys above Hercules. Alice, guys, I'm just going to say it. I think by now you know how I feel about Alice. Alice is the first legendary I would go after in this game right now. Why? Why? Because if you put Caterpillar, if you put the March Hare, if you put the Mad Hatter, and if you put the Cheshire Cat with Jack Skellington, you're going to get an amazing run on just about any type. Especially Rock and or You could even use it on Tornado. Additionally, you could use Marcher on the Ian team, like I talked about earlier with the one with Ian, Chunk, Sally, and Wendy. You put him in place of Shank, like I talked about earlier. It's winning. Then you still get yourself the Queen of Hearts to use on another Tornado run. Then there's Alice. Alice is S tier. So this team, in my opinion, would be now. Now I've talked to you about Frozen. I've talked to you about Big Hero 6. They both require you to get your heroes to Gear 8 to finish the event. With Alice, you need to get them to Gear 8. So it's 7 versus 8. So if you just want to get Legos first, Alice, then Big Hero 6, then these guys, in my opinion. But if you're playing long term, and you want to be able to compete and contribute to a raid with everybody that's in a team, Alice in Wonderland is the team that you need. Then Sensational 6. Daisy's good. Goofy not so good. Donald good. Pluto not good. Minnie not good. Mickey good. So there's 3 toons that are usable out of this team. And if you're running raid, you're probably going to put all 3 of them together, that being Daisy, Donald, and Mickey. The other 3 you're not going to use. It's tough. But for me, I'm probably going to put Hercules in front of the Sensational 6. Now, if you love Mickey, I get it. If you love Herc, I get it. Just know you're going to have a lot more mythical resources than you're going to have downtown resources. So that, again, adds into my calculation of, I think, for me, that I would go after Hercules before I would go after the Sensational 6. But that's a tough call for me. And I think that only, well, I mean, okay. So we have some others that I just forgot about. So we got to go to these others, and people will argue, well, that person's not oceanic. Yeah, they are. Don't lie to yourself. They're legendary. Don't lie to yourself. These 2, Ursula, who you get just by doing the Siege on Olympus, no, not the Siege on Olympus, but the Forbidden Depths. Once again, Alice is going to help you get to this team. The Alice team will help you get to Ursula. And Kita, you just have to do the good old what's it called? The Clubbook tradition. Now, they did say in the June update that they were going to put somebody else in as a reward for the Club Expedition. If they do, they're probably going to move Kita to an exchange. Well, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with Kita, and they might do it where they have one section is Kita, and then the next section, when they come up with the Gear 9.99, 9.5 stuff, the Inferno or whatever, maybe where we get the new whoever. So she's still going to be. So you're going to have to invest in all of these teams anyway, even before you can get to Kita. So just keep that in mind. We talked about Zeus. The only other person that I think we have to talk about is Mal. Mal, if you don't know, Mal was the character that came out last year. She'd been in the game since launch, but they just effectively put her in the game last October, and she was the first one like they just did with Edna. To get Mal is one of the best characters in the game. She's arguably better than Hercules. Either or, I don't know. But the thing about Mal is you need Shan Yu, who's really good, who's probably the best kingdom leader in the game. You need Namari, who's really good. You need Yzma, who's really good. You need Sheriff Nottingham, who is good, but may not be as good as you want him to be. And then Gaston, who was better than he was when he came out. It's still not saying a lot, but it's still saying this. And then obviously you need Jafar and Mother Gothel for Edna, as part of the Edna thing. Then you go over to who else you need for these guys. You need Kronk. You need Mulan, who's also a princess. Keep that in mind. You need Robin Hood, who is, what can you say? He's freaking Robin Hood. You need Mickey, Sorcerer Mickey, who's been the mascot of this game forever. He was really good when the game first came out. Now he's not so much, but he's, And then Mrs. Potts, who we talked about. Comparing and contrasting. Just for the simple fact that you don't need as many toons to get to Hercules, and you don't need to have them all at tier 8, which you need all of these guys to be at tier 8 to get Maleficent fully unlocked. I'm going to put Hercules above Maleficent. So I'm going to go ahead, so like I said, now that I've done ranking all of the heroics, and now that I've done talking about her, I'm going to rank the heroic teams in the order that I think you should go after them. So stay tuned for that. But guys, if you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, like and subscribe, share this video with your friends. And until next time, I'll see you later. Goodbye. Have a good day. See ya. Bye.